Right, so I thought I'd better do kind of like a part 2, finish off final review on this Strimmer, because when I went and done the actual review, it broke, and you know, I weren't able to really finish it. I know I put the video out, but I weren't able to finish it. I weren't happy with it anyway. And there's a few things that I still need to point out that I've noticed since then, and also with the replacement parts. So we'll have a look at those, and we'll talk about those in a minute. So, I don't think I talked about it before, but the little toolkit that you do get with this Strimmer is very handy. I've used it. I've only used it. I used it when I was putting well, when I put it together after getting it out of the packing. I used it for everything, and you get all the little landing keys that you need. I don't honestly know what that's for. You get obviously your little nylon lock nut thing. You get your spanner that you need, and all these little parts. That's for putting the blade on, and little bits like that. You get your socket. Alright, they're a cheap one, but if you buy any other brands, even the more expensive brands, you only really get these. You don't get proper decent things. So this is fine, it does the job. Spark plug, spanner, and I don't know what the other one's for, but it's a smaller one anyway. That works for the spark plug and for the for putting your blade on. That might be the spark plug one, I don't know. I've not had to take the plug out of this one yet. And you get a little screwdriver. Does that come out of there? It does. There you go. I've not even tried that yet, but you get a flathead, and you get your Phillips little screwdriver there. This is handy. You need to use this when you're changing from blades to Strimmer spool and all that rubbish. But the main thing, obviously, when you're buying a Strimmer, the main thing is the engine, because the Strimmer itself, the whole thing is no good unless you've got an engine that is actually powerful enough or is actually any good. And this being 52cc, whether it's genuine 52cc, I don't know, it may well be 50 or 49, probably is 52. If it says 52, it's probably about 50 or 51. But whatever it is, it's a 52cc engine, and it's very good. I mean, I broke mine in properly. I couldn't find anything substantial in this manual that you do get with it, telling you to break the engine in properly. So I done it anyway. I mean, I know how to break engines in. I've built many of them, and I've had many. So I did break this in well. I let it tick over, I let it cool down, I then used it, and then let it cool down, and I just done it to how I would prefer to do it. And so far it's very good. It's probably got about 10 or 12 hours on it at the moment after the break-in. 10 or 12 hours of solid hard work, and it's very good. You know, there's no problems with the engine whatsoever. It's powerful enough, it's not loud, it doesn't vibrate. I did notice on the reviews on the SGS website, some people had said that this, well, the whole unit vibrates a lot. There is no vibrations any more than you'd get on any other Strimmer. I must make that clear. There is a few things that may make vibrations, and I'll go through them in a moment, but I have not experienced any vibrations whatsoever. So the engine is good, it's smooth. I had to adjust the tick over because when it came after it had broken in and everything had loosened up, the tick over was way too high. So I had to adjust that a little bit. But you've got tick over adjustments. Have you got any other adjustments on there? You should have. I don't think you have though. All I can see on here is a tick over adjustment. There is a primer bulb as well. Someone else said on their review on their website that there's no primer bulb. There is a primer bulb. Hopefully you can see it there. There is a primer bulb. So, you know, there is one. Someone said there wasn't, but there is. See, I do read the reviews. I do go through the reviews. You'd think there would be a high and low adjustment. Oh, there is. There's one. There's one adjustment, and you've got tick over there, and there is a high and low adjustment. So it might just be an air screw. Anyway, I had to adjust tick over, but the engine itself is absolutely smooth. So let's go and move on to another one of the issues, and it's a big issue for me. Alright, so I think I made this well known on my other video, the one where I was supposed to do the full review but ended up just doing half a review. Yeah, I think I made this well known. Their system for the harness it's appalling. I mean, it's so awkward. I don't know how they test their products before they actually put them into mass production, but whoever tested them and said that this is a good system is absolutely, he must have been drunk or something, I don't know, but it's just no good whatsoever. So what you've got is you've got this little thing that flaps around there like that, and then you've got a little a little hook. Now in the manual there isn't, well, I couldn't find anything that tells you how to use the harness. The only bit that I could find anywhere near is where it says assembly, and then it says balancing the strimmer, and it just says put, can you read that? You probably can, I hope so. It just says put the harness on and attach your strimmer to it. I mean, I couldn't see anything that tells you, I may well be blind and there may be something in here, and I hope there is, but I couldn't see it. It tells you how to use the harness. Apparently there's something on the SGS website that tells you how to put it on, but I couldn't find that either. And so I've spent, well, every time I use this I spent trying to work out how to actually use it. But what you've got is, you've got that, what clips onto there, and that's got a little rectangular sort of hole in it, and the only way that I can see to do it is to get that little clip, put that in there like that, and then get that to go in there like that. Now that's good, that holds it, that's good, that is, you know, and it quick releases easily. Just, this is, bear in mind you'll have this harness on, you pull that and it comes undone, but then you've got to fanny around trying to get it all back in again. And if you leave that connected to that, and then you just try and connect that to that while you're wearing the harness, it's just a big, well, I don't like it. The usual thing is you just have a hole and a little hook, and you lift it up, and there'll be holes, like 1, 2, 3 holes, and on your harness you just have a hook, just a hook like that, and then you just clip it in. It's very simple. You lift it up, lift the strimmer up, clip it in, lift the strimmer up, unclip it. You don't need any hands, don't need nothing. So I don't like the harness design. That is a big issue for me, a really big issue. In fact, I may well just change it. I'm probably going to end up fixing that in one place like that, and then I'll get rid of that. I'll fix that in one place like that, and then I'll either go and buy another harness. Well, I won't go and buy another harness, I'll just use one of the other ones I've got that's got a hook on it. Or I'll attach a hook somewhere around here, just screw it on, rivet it on, glue it on, whatever. Attach a hook onto this here instead of this, and that will fix that issue. But other than that, we're all good. Once it's on, the harness is good and comfortable once it's on. It's just a way of doing it, because when you're out there strimming for hours, you take it off, you put it on, you put petrol in it, you might take it off to go and get a drink or something, and then you want to put it back on. It's an issue. The second rather large issue that I have with this is this trimming head, trimming spool, whatever you would prefer to call it. Now, this is the second one they've sent me out, because the first one that come with this, I had the issue where the grease nibble fell off, but that's a different thing. This didn't appear to work. Now, usually the way you'd wind a trimming spool is you'd put one side in, you wind it up, you clip it in, and it's simple, yeah? I wish I had one to demonstrate and show, but I don't. I left it behind, didn't bring it home with me. But anyway, so they have a very strange design for actually winding their spools up for some reason. I don't really know why. Anyone who knows anything, I've never seen one like this. There may be others, but I've never seen it, and if there is, it's very awkward. You get your line, you put it through there, and then it's meant to follow that little track and come out the other side, and then you've got to fanny around trying to get both ends to be the same length. Otherwise you just end up with two different lengths. Usually when you're winding a spool, you'd have two ends like this, and you'd have little cutouts on here and on here. So you'd find your little groove, which we'll just say here would be there. You put one end of your string in there, and then you wind around one side, yeah? And when you've got enough on this side, you'd clip it in there, and that would keep it in place. Then you'd find the same hole there. On the other side, you wind it around, and then you clip it in there, and then you just place it in there and put it all back together. That's actually what they show in the instruction manual. in their instruction manual for this strimmer, they show that design, but they send you out one like this, which is horrible. And another problem, I didn't discover it when I was first testing it, because I didn't get a chance, really, because it broke before I could even get a chance. But what happens is, this seems to be quite weak. It seems to be a very weak design. I played around with it to try and see if it was just the way that it was or whatever, and trying to find out what was wrong, but it's weak. And I filled the whole spool up right up to the brim. You can't get any more in there, yeah? And literally I'd done about 20 feet of stinging nettles, and I didn't even, because the way you get the string to come out is you're supposed to bang that on the ground, yeah? And that pushes it in and it pops out a little bit more string. Well, I didn't even do that, not once, and all the string came out. So it seems if you're cutting stinging nettles or anything that's quite large, and not just thin little bits of grass, stinging nettles, things that you would expect to cut with a strimmer of this size, isn't any good, because from what I seem to have discovered, it appears to be the actual weeds or foliage or whatever it is you're hitting. It's grabbing onto that grabbing onto that wire and pulling it out. Because I tested it, I thought to myself, why is all my string coming out? Why is it all going? I'm not even hitting the ground with it. It's nowhere near the ground. Why is it all coming out? You know, and if you yank on it, it's all right. If you put on it hard, it all comes out. So I did a little test. I just didn't strim anything. I was just revving it up, just in thin air, and nothing. It wasn't letting any more string out. So then I went to some really thin, fine grass, and it was all right. It let a bit out without me telling it to, but you know, you can't be perfect. The minute I went into stinging nettles, it all just came out. So it seems to be that it hits the stinging nettles, it hits whatever foliage. This isn't strong enough to grip the wire, and then it just pulls it all out, and then you lose all your wire and it's all gone. So this is it's a bad design, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this for one from another brand. You can guess which brand. I'm going to replace this so I've got a good spool. I'm going to make a good strimmer out of one that's got bad points on it, basically. Obviously SGS haven't mastered, you know, there's other brands out there that you can think of that have been around for a lot longer, and they've mastered how to make things. Maybe SGS are in the first stages of mastering how to do strimming spools and harnesses. While we're here, let's just demonstrate what you're supposed to do. You see, you're on the ground, and what you do, you see that this pushes in, yeah, that pushes in like that. When this is out, I wish I had some wire, but strange enough, all the wire I had all got used up because it all kept coming out, so I haven't got any to demonstrate with, but you've got your wire in there. Nothing should come out until you bump this bit on the ground while you're revving it. That goes in, unclips it inside, and then the centrifugal force then flicks out a little bit more string on both sides, and then because you've only bumped it, that comes back out and it should lock again, and there should be no more string coming out. But it doesn't work, it's no good, it's rubbish. So, but while we're here, let's have a talk. I was reading the reviews on their website, and a couple of people said that this has a lot of vibrations. Now, I mentioned earlier on, we'll talk about one of the things, well, a couple of the things that can cause vibrations within a strimmer. One of them is if you've got a greasable head. This one is a good design, they've done very well on this one, and they've actually put a grease nipple on here. Now, not all of them do, but there's a bearing inside here, obviously, and it needs to be greased, it needs to be lubricated. Now, I haven't experienced any vibrations yet, but that may be because I greased this up. I mean, I put a couple of pumps of grease in it when I first got it, because I didn't know if they greased it from the factory or not. And then every couple of hours, I just put a couple of pumps of grease back in there, just to keep it well lubricated, you know. So that may be why I haven't experienced any vibrations. But if this gets, you know, if it doesn't have enough grease in it and it starts to get dry, this will vibrate a lot. And I've had them before where I've taken over strimming from somebody else, and not on an SGS strimmer, on another brand strimmer, a really expensive one actually, one that costs more than 4 times the amount this cost. I've taken over from the middle of the day, put their harness on, got their strimmer and just carried on strimming, and it's vibrating like hell. And when I investigated, this was completely dry. So if this gets dry, it will vibrate and you will notice vibrations. Another thing that can cause vibrations that you may not realise is you've got one here and around the other side you've got another outlet, so you have 2 bits of string coming out. Yeah, so if you lose one side of your string and you've still got one side of it in there, it will go around and it'll be uneven, and that causes a lot of vibrations as well. So check that. If you're getting vibrations, make sure you've greased that enough. There's plenty of grease in there, and also make sure that you've got even string coming out of both sides, because they will both cause vibrations that a lot of you seem to be panicking about. Alright, and while we're on the subject of vibrations, another thing, a more serious thing, and this can be serious, and you wouldn't believe it, well, you may believe it, a lot of people don't realise this. If you've not got enough oil in with your petrol, your engine will vibrate quite a lot. And I tend to run any 2-stroke engine that I have, I tend to run it richer than probably should do, and richer than is probably advised by the manufacturers. Now, SGS recommend, and they say in their instruction manual, use 40:1 mixture. 40:1. I don't run anything at 40:1, and I haven't been running this at 40:1 either. I've been running this at 25:1. Now, it's not because I'm just rebelling or anything like that. It's a simple fact that everything else 2-stroke that I've got is I run at 25:1, apart from a couple of the really old engines from the pre-1960s and things like that. They got copper bearings and brass bearings. I run them at 16:1. But anything that's slightly newer or anything is all 25:1. And I always tend to regulate it by the amount of revs that you're doing. So Strimmers, they tend to rev relatively high. You're not usually ticking over or anything, are you? You're usually not flat out. You should never be flat out, but you're going to be revving quite high. So I like to make sure there's plenty of oil in there. It's best to be more oil in a 2-stroke within your mixture than not enough, because if it's too much, you're going to get a fouled plug and you might get blocked up exhaust and things like that. But you can clean those out. If you haven't got enough, you're going to get scored pistons and scored cylinders. You know, if you're willing to spend the money to repair that on a cheap thing anyway, then fair enough, but it's not worth it. So anyway, where was I? I've been running it on 25:1. I've not experienced any vibrations more than what you would expect with a Strimmer. In fact, it's very good. It's probably got less vibrations than a lot of other Strimmers. You know, and also the fact that we had 2 Strimmers out. We had a Husqvarna 39R, which is from 1987, and that's still going strong. I've been running that on 25:1, so I simply just mixed up 1 can and put 25:1 in this, and it ran perfectly well. There was no excess smoke. It was perfectly good. I know in the first video that I'd done there was excess smoke. That's because I'd let it tick over for ages. It was at the end of the breaking in period. It's been ticking over for ages. So, but yeah, I thought I'd just better cover some of that, because when I was reading the reviews and I noticed people said there's vibrations within their ones, I'm thinking there's no vibrations in mine. Obviously people are doing something wrong. So it's a really good Strimmer. It's, apart from the harness, which is a big problem for me, I reckon they need to think about how they've designed their harness, because well, not the harness itself is good, it's just the way that you attach the harness to the Strimmer, and that's it's a pad design. It's as simple as that. And if anybody has managed to make this work seamlessly without using your hands, then please let me know, because I can't find a way to do it. You need to use at least 1 hand, and it's very fiddly. And the bad spool design, I can't get that to work. I put the blade on it. The blade's good. Obviously a blade's a blade, just a bit of metal. That was perfect, that was fine. No vibrations with that either. That was very good. Yeah, I have no complaints other than that. The throttle works well, everything seems to work. The handles are comfortable, they're all comfortable. The balance is good. There's no other real issues. There's just these 2 main ones which to me make it almost unusable. Is the harness, and the spool does make it unusable because you just waste so much string when you don't need to. So that's something I'm going to be changing that. And if SGS bring out a new design of spool even, I will be getting one. You know, I'll have to get one and see what that's like. But if not, I'll just be replacing it for one of the other brand ones. And I'll have a perfectly good working Strimmer then. That'd be wonderful. So if anyone's got any questions about this Strimmer, you can always leave a comment, and I'll help you out the best I can. I'm not a professional, but I do stand by SGS, the company, because they make very good products, and everything's made in England. which is, as far as I know, everything's made in England, and their base is in England as well. Another reason why I like to get things from them. So just ask me any question you want, and if I can help you, I will do. As far as this Strimmer goes, it's a fantastic thing. Just it's a few design tweaks. That's about it. Ah, by the way, something I forgot to mention. If you're wondering about the mixtures, how to mix up your two-stroke oil, oh, yay, there we go. They do supply a jug with it. Well, not a jug, it's a bottle. They supply a bottle with it. This is what you get with your Strimmer. They probably give you the same ones with chainsaws, and well, they don't do the chainsaws anymore. I was so disappointed. I was going to buy one, and they stopped doing them. Anyway, so you get this jug with it, and it's got on it. So you got your fuel. So this is where you put your petrol. You fill up your petrol up to this line here, and then you got oil. So if you were doing a 35:1 mix, you'd put your petrol here, and then you'd fill up the oil up to that line. And if you were doing a 50:1 mix, you'd put petrol and then you'd put your oil up to that line there where it says 50:1. On the other side of the can, you've got your fuel line again, so you put your petrol to that line. And then if you was doing a 40:1 mix, which is what they recommend in their instruction manual, you would then fill up the oil up to there. If you were doing a 25:1 mix, which is what I've been running mine on, you would fill the oil up to there. And you probably notice that's the most amount of oil out of all of them. The 25:1 has the most amount of oil. So I would recommend, personally, I mean, obviously I don't know what their warranties are like. If you run it on something that's not what they recommend, will they still honour the warranty? I don't know how they would find out, but unless it's seized up or something, I'd scores on it, they'd know you weren't running any oil in it. But 25:1 is more oil than they recommend, so that's got to be good, right? Anyway, so I'd recommend doing that. Run it on 25:1, there can't be any problems there. But that's how you mix it up if you're worrying about it. You haven't got to do any equations or sums or anything like that, because they send you a bottle that mixes it up for you. So that's brilliant, absolutely wonderful. So if you thought that my review on this was helpful then, and you want to see any more, I have done a few. I've got the 100-litre air compressor, which I've done an unboxing and review on, and I've got a few other SGS toolboxes and things. I haven't really done reviews on those, but I'm going to be getting some more products from SGS. So if you've got one that you've been looking at and you're not sure on it and you want me to buy it and do a review on it, then just let me know what it is that you want me to do, and I'll do my best to go and get one and test it and do one of my reviews on it. I don't like lying. I don't like making reviews where people just get something and they go, oh yeah, it's really good, yeah, I really liked it. It broke and it was horrible to use, but I really liked it. It was really good, yeah. That's no good. That's no good. If it's no good, there's no bloody good, is it? Anyway, so if you wanted me to do another one, just let me know what you want. Put it in the comments, what you want me to review, what you want me to go and buy, and I'll do my best to get one. And yeah, I might end up with a big collection of SGS products. I stand by them, so I'm going to get most of them. Thanks for watching, and hope you have a lot of fun streaming if you've gone and got yourself one of these.